What doctors won't do. Doctors reveal the treatments or habits they would avoid.
I would never have a full health check. I would never take up the regularly advertised offers by private medical companies. Why? Well, if you have symptoms, you go to your GP and they listen to your history, examine you, request investigations and reach a decision. This process is known as diagnosis. A full check when you feel totally well is not diagnosis, it is screening. There are few screening tests where the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, and they could lead you to have potentially harmful investigations, or indeed treatment that you may not have needed. One hears anecdotes about the advantages of health checks. One hears anecdotes about people who have fallen out of sixth-floor windows and lived, but I wouldn't try it myself. Mike Smith, GP.
I would never go to my doctor with a long list of symptoms. Patients often think this helps, but it makes the doctor's heart sink. They're not going to be able to deal with everything in one go, and, most importantly of all, it makes them think you haven't got one particular problem, you've got a multiplicity of problems, which is a sure sign of a hypochondriac. Carol Cooper, GP. I would never sunbathe. People underestimate the risk. They think, my skin looks all right, how can it be damaged? Even if your skin doesn't look aged, you can end up with skin damage that sets you up for potential cancers in the future. Sunbathing in your teens and early 20s is a very strong risk factor. We are now seeing cancers in the under 40s that we used to see only on the faces of old weather-beaten guys who had spent a lifetime outdoors. I would go out in the sun, but I would never lie in it with the purpose of getting a tan. Carol Cooper, GP.
I would never take sleeping tablets. I have come across many patients who have been taking them for decades. They are addictive, and it can be very difficult for people to wean themselves off them. The side effects can include falls, confusion, sleepiness in the daytime, and the feeling that increasingly high doses are needed to achieve the same effects. I can't imagine any situation in which I would start using them. Helen Drew, GP.
I would never follow a low-carb diet. Why? Because although you will probably lose weight, it may kill you. Don't take my word for it. Read about the 43,396 Swedish women followed for an average of 15 years. Those who stuck to low carbs and high protein had a rising risk of dying from heart attacks and strokes. There was a staggering 62% higher risk of such illnesses among the women eating the strictest diet over those who ate normally. Eating is for enjoyment. These diets turn food into medicine, and it's the wrong medicine. Tom Smith, GP.
I would never have cosmetic surgery. The reason for my reluctance? Nothing to do with anaesthetics, safe these days, but entirely to do with surgery, which should never be undertaken for what you might call soft reasons. It's not that surgery is so dangerous that I would worry about death. Mainly, it's the worry of an infection, which can be very unpleasant. Mark Patrick, consultant anaesthetist.
I would never see a counsellor. I would never see a counsellor if I was having mental health problems. Absolutely anyone can claim to be a counsellor. It's an entirely unregulated area. As a result, there's a huge variation in quality, and I have seen too many patients who have been further psychologically damaged by seeing poorly qualified counsellors. Max Pemberton, psychiatrist.